Guys. I gotta do a speech now. Speech, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, but obviously, more importantly, gentlemen. Because gentlemen are the real fabric of our society and they're what matter. Now, I know there's 2 female judges, but I figure I can swing all the men and it'll be cool. That's not true. I'm not actually a sexist. I believe that we are all part of one collective consciousness, that we are all experiencing ourselves subjectively. And that means that you would be doing yourself a favour if you slept with me. Moving on to the actual debate, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to talk about the value of life, ladies and gentlemen, because I think it's very important. I think we need to talk about what that actually means and how we come to that conception of why life is actually important. Because Ross talked about duelling, ladies and gentlemen. Ross talked about what duelling actually is. And I, for one, would never inflict knowingly, would never live in a society where somebody can be put in the type of situation that Ross was talking about, where in a single-shot pistol duel, they could have missed, and they are left to wait inside that sealed room, while the other duelist comes across, takes his own sweet time, and shoots them. I don't think that that is a human thing for us to allow other people to experience, and I think you can laugh all you want at the things that they say, but they are abhorrent, ladies and gentlemen. We believe it's important for society to make this kind of decision together, ladies and gentlemen, because we believe that people's rights don't just belong to them as individuals. The dignity of human life is something that applies to every single person in the world, ladies and gentlemen. No, thank you. We say that when we allow this, we don't just dehumanize the person who is killed. We don't just dehumanize the killer. We dehumanize every single person by allowing this to occur, ladies and gentlemen. We got this idea from first propositions that the state is some sort of monster, that the state is some sort of removed body who decides what rights it will take away from us on a whim. That's not what a state is. A state is simply a legal framework built around a community. It is a legal framework built around the ideas and the beliefs that we all have. And if we decide that as individuals we are all willing to give up our right to choose to enter duels, that we are all willing to give up our rights to kill and be killed, and we want this to be something that is important in our society, then it is perfectly legitimate for us to enforce this like we do every other thing which we feel the need to enforce on society, by mutual coercion, by forcing everybody else to live by the same code so that we can have an orderly society where people are safe and human life is protected, ladies and gentlemen.
Information.
We say, ladies and gentlemen, that society and communities have a legitimate interest in this, ladies and gentlemen. We say they have a very simple vested interest that Ross talked about. We say that suicides and road accidents, ladies and gentlemen, remind us every day of what happens when people are tragically injured. They remind us of what happens when people tragically die. They remind us of the families left behind by needless, pointless death. Broken families, scarred families, parentless children, and parents without children. We say, ladies and gentlemen, that this is far more important than any notional right to choice or any insane railing against the nanny state, which isn't a nanny state. It's simply the rest of the community trying to enforce some sort of idea of human dignity, ladies and gentlemen. We don't think that this is in any way going against the rights of people. We say it is a vindication of the rights of people to organise their society in a way that they believe is right and that is just. Go.
Okay, but life only has dignity because it's something that's unique, something that's objective. If you take that away, if you don't allow people to contract to this, then it becomes meaningless.
That's rubbish. Do you know what makes life being alive more than any other single thing that you can talk about? Being alive. It's essential. They talk about the right to choice, ladies and gentlemen. They talk about an adult can make a decision and they can take the consequences. Rubbish. Do you really think that an 18-year-old caught up with ideas of his own invulnerability, caught up with ideas, revenge fantasies that he learned from Hollywood movies, is really making a choice that we should imbue with so much importance that it involves the end of his existence as a human being. I do not believe that that is acceptable, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a real choice. That's why slavery is different, ladies and gentlemen. This is worse than slavery. At least if you're a slave, you can be pissed off about being a slave. The army is different, ladies and gentlemen, because if you go into the army, you risk your life for a higher purpose. You risk your life to protect... No! Seriously. You risk your life to protect the society that by doing things like this attempts to protect you. I want to finish, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to finish yet, because Ross said I talked about the rule of law. So yeah, this probably does bad things to the rule of law. There you go. But what I will say is if individual people can decide this, why shouldn't we all decide it? Why shouldn't the people decide it? Why shouldn't society just give up on people who make bad decisions? Why do we bother trying to rehabilitate young men who murder other young men? Why do we bother trying to rehabilitate men who steal? Why, if we allow a death sentence for a bad decision, should we not, as a society, allow a death sentence for a bad decision? The reason that we don't do this is because we have all decided that life is important. We have all decided it's the most important thing. And there's a simple reason for this. Can everybody in the room seriously think about something that makes them feel happy to be alive? Can you do that? Can everybody in the room look around and look at one other person in the room and imagine what it would be like if that person no longer existed? I, for one, think that's an intensely sad reaction.